Yo, what's going on, guys? Troy here with Muscle Tactics, and I want to dive into the best way to get abs using the clean bulk methods. So it's winter time right now in California. That's why I'm standing here on the beach in a long sleeve shirt. It's actually pretty chilly here in the winter time in Southern California, and I know you guys are hitting the weights hard. You're putting a lot of food in your system. You're trying to aggressively bulk. You want to pack on the most amount of lean muscle mass possible over these winter months. And you know, there's a really strategic way to go about it, and there's a really bad way to go about it. And I know so many guys that go about bulking and they do a quote unquote, you know, like dirty bulk, where they go in the gym and they just, you know, they lift some compound weights, they hit the bench press, the deadlift, the squat. They're doing the right thing in the gym. And then with their nutrition and their eating, they're eating so much junk. So they're just eating a surplus of calories with ice cream and cookies and pizza, you know, late night Papa John's delivery, all that good stuff. And then they think, you know, they're gonna snap their fingers and spring and summertime rolls around and they're gonna be able to get abs. But it doesn't work like that. If you want abs in the spring and summertime, you have to have a clean bulking approach to packing on the maximum amount of lean muscle mass. And this doesn't mean you have to have 100% clean diet, but you have to eat clean most of the time. So I want to dive into my clean bulk blueprint, and this is the best way to get abs in the spring and summertime, and even maintain abs during a bulking season. But especially when you want to cut down, you want to get ripped for the spring and summertime, this approach will get you shredded really quickly. So you have to keep in mind, it takes 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound of fat. So if you're putting on 10 pounds of fat during your bulking season, that is a lot of calories to burn off to get those abs in the spring and the summertime. So that is 35,000 calories. You have to go on a 35,000 calorie deficit to lose 10 pounds of fat. And I know a lot of guys who are going in these dirty bulks who are gaining 10 to 20 pounds of fat over the course of 2 or 3 months. So you have to understand that if you go on that big of a calorie deficit, all of a sudden you're gonna lose muscle mass. So if you try to lose weight too quickly after your bulk, you're gonna start to lose muscle mass. So it's a good rule of thumb that you really can only lose 1 pound of fat at the maximum while maintaining all of your lean muscle mass. So just a super important thing to keep in mind. And I really hope you guys follow this clean bulk, because this is gonna form the blueprint to any kind of like aggressive bulking state. We're gaining lean muscle mass really quickly, followed by a time where you wanna get ripped. So this is the perfect bulk and cut strategy. Really the only way to bulk and cut is a clean bulk. So first of all, we have to understand how many calories we're consuming on a clean bulk. And for me, at least, with you know, how my body and my metabolism is set up, I do body weight times 17. So you know, I'm about 200 pounds right now. I will do my body weight times 17, and this is the amount of calories that it takes to have about a 500 calorie surplus during my bulk. So you figure out your maintenance level, and most guys' maintenance level is their body weight times 15. So my bulking calorie intake is my body weight times 17. And another thing you want to set up is you want to have your macros set up strategically. I do about 1.25 grams of protein per pound of body weight, so I'll be consuming anywhere between 225 and 275 grams of protein on my clean bulk. And then my carbohydrates will be my body weight times 2. So carbohydrates are so crucial when it comes to bulking up and gaining lean muscle mass really quick. So I'll do about 400 grams of carbohydrates during my clean bulk. And then the rest of my calories are all gonna come from fat. So real easy, just kind of crunch those numbers, figure out how many proteins, carbs, and healthy fats you need to bulk. And now the timing of everything is so crucial. When I'm really bulking and I'm hitting my compound exercises, I'm doing, you know, 8 to 10 sets of squats and deadlifts and bench press every single workout, I want to have a lot of calories post-workout. So that's when the majority of my carbohydrates will come. I do a lot of calories, or a lot of carbohydrates I should say, pre-workout, about an hour and a half to 2 hours before, to give my body the maximum amount of energy so I can hit those compound exercises hard. I can attack the weight room with the maximum amount of energy, refill my muscle glycogen, just have my body operating like a machine. Then right after, immediately after I work out, I want to hit that post-workout insulin spike, hit that anabolic window. So you want a lot of your calories coming right after you work out from your carbohydrates, because insulin is highly anabolic post-workout. So you want to feed your body, you know, refill that muscle glycogen, prepare your body for the upcoming day's workout. So the most important thing that you have to consider when you're doing a clean bulk is the hormonal responses to the foods that you're putting in your body. So you have to understand, if you eat a bunch of really bad carbohydrates late at night, that is going to shut off your HGH secretion, because insulin and human growth hormone cannot coexist simultaneously. So you have to understand that although, you know, I know a lot of you guys are following the if it fits your macros diet, but you have to understand how your body works a little bit too. So for me personally, I know that when I stay away from carbohydrates late at night, I stick with, you know, healthy fats and lean proteins. Even when I'm eating a surplus of calories, I don't seem to pack on too many pounds of body fat. So number one, you just have to understand, don't eat carbs late at night. You know, keep your HGH levels high, because HGH levels pertain to maximum fat burning and are really crucial for building muscle mass and increasing strength. So the most important thing I do during my clean bulk is I try to tailor 80 to 90% of my daily carbohydrates with breakfast, pre-workout, and post-workout meals. So if you can follow that blueprint, you guys are going to have some amazing success. Another thing that I do, obviously, you know, you're bulking, you want to have a little bit of fun with it. So I will do a couple cheat meals throughout the week. I'll do a midweek cheat meal, maybe on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, and then on the weekend I'll have another cheat meal. So I try to keep my cheat meals like mid-afternoon, earlier in the day, just so I don't spike my insulin too close to bedtime, and I'm able to, it's not gonna screw up my workouts. I noticed sometimes, for instance, one time I had like a bunch of frozen yogurt right before I worked out, about an hour before I worked out, and I noticed I just crashed so hard. All that sugar just kind of made me crash, and I had a really ineffective workout. So one little trick that I started doing is, if I tend to work out earlier in the day, I'll usually go in the morning or mid-afternoon, and I will have my high sugar cheat meal right after I work out. So that kind of kills two birds with one stone. So, you know, you hit your post-workout insulin spike, and then you refill your muscle glycogen, and you're also killing that sweet tooth. So one of my favorite things to do is I'll just do a bunch of like fat-free frozen yogurt. I'll go to, you know, Yogurtland or any of my favorite, you know, fat-free frozen yogurt places, and I'll just load up on the yogurt post-workout. I don't really care about how many carbs are coming from it, because my body actually needs it. So if you just follow that blueprint and you just have your cheat meals a couple times, maybe midweek, maybe later in the week on the weekends, you guys are gonna have some amazing success. So many amazing things happen in your body when you do high intensity interval training. So your body becomes literally a fat burning machine following the workout. Your metabolism is increased 24 to 48 hours following a high intensity interval training session. So high intensity interval training will make you really sore. So I tend to do it, I'll space it 3 to 4 days apart, and I'll do it 2 times a week when I'm on my clean bulk. And I will simply do 8 to 10 sprint intervals. So this is something as simple as sprinting at maximum speed for anywhere between 10 and 20 seconds, resting 30 to 40 seconds, and repeating this 10 times. So, you know, especially being a naturally skinny guy, if you do too much cardio, this is actually a catabolic activity. So this is gonna cause you to lose muscle mass. High intensity interval training is an anaerobic activity. It's maximizing your anabolic threshold. All these amazing hormonal benefits are happening. So I don't care what your body type is, but especially if you're a naturally skinny guy, high intensity interval training is the best thing that you can do to get ripped, build muscle, and just increase your fat burning, you know, capabilities all day long. Especially when you're on a clean bulk, you're already on a 500 calorie surplus. High intensity interval training is going to be crucial if you want to get shredded for spring and summertime. So that is a really easy to follow clean bulk blueprint. If you guys just follow, you know, the basis of this, you know, stick to clean foods 80 to 90% of the time. You're hitting your compound exercises hard. You're not eating sugar late at night. You're doing all that good stuff. You guys should be able to stay ripped, maintain six-pack abs during your bulking season, and get absolutely shredded for spring and summertime. If you guys are looking to bulk up and gain lean muscle mass, check out weightgainmethod.com. Thanks, guys. And I want to dive into German volume training. So 5 reasons why you need to implement German volume training into your lifestyle right away. Number 1, it is perfect for those winter bulking season gains. I mean,